Hi, Mike Damergis here for Sports Confidential. With me, Mr. Jaime Cuadra from End Zone Sports Management in San Diego, California. Jaime is the new president of the new USFL. Welcome to the show, Jaime.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
So first, why? Let's start with the who, what, where, why, when, and how, as all journalists do. Why start up this new league again?
Well, one of the things we thought was if we were going to go into spring football, what better moniker to have than the one that we felt made the biggest impact in the football landscape. Even in the 3 years that it was around, people today still remember it with fondness. There's a romantic feel to it. So we thought if the moniker was there and we could acquire it, then it would kind of give us that jump into credibility in the sense that people understood that this is a spring football league, not a competitor to the NFL, even though that's what was the demise of the USFL.
Jaime, does it give you some confidence? At last week's press conference, Commissioner Goodell mentioned the USFL, and there are thoughts that the NFL is looking at some sort of spring league that does not actually compete with the NFL but works with the NFL?
It was very encouraging to see that we are on their radar now. It is encouraging to hear what their thoughts are. What we hope is that we can start making that connection, that affiliation, kind of a soft affiliation. We don't expect them to embrace us in the beginning, but I do expect that as we become successful, there will be a much closer tie.
Jaime, let's talk about the who now. Like, who's involved? I'm hearing names like Deion Sanders, Marshall Faulk, Drew Brees, and of course Fred Biletnikoff and Jim Steig, 35-year NFL front office veteran.
Yeah, we've got such a great team, and one of the things that I'm a huge advocate of is surround yourself with people who are smarter than you are, specifically about the industry that you're in. So what we have is when we first joined the group together from End Zone, we decided we would reach out to Jim Steig. Jim is a resident of San Diego, very well known here, and so we presented the idea to him. He fell in love with it. He said, this is something that absolutely needs to happen. So we felt very confident that we had the model, we had the horsepower to do what we wanted to do. And so then with him came people like Jim Bailey, who was with the Colts. The Browns, and then the Baltimore Ravens for 21 years in a high executive capacity. So he brings a little bit more to the table as well. Then from there, we ended up talking to Jeff Garcia, again, another guy who's a San Diego resident. And his vision for the company he currently is with very much aligns with what we're trying to do with the USFL. So it was a perfect fit. And then we've talked to people like Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin, who have all told us, this is a great idea. This is something that really needs to happen. There's a lot of talent out there that's not playing. And so they're very much behind it. Marshall Faulk is another one. Lincoln Kennedy has joined us. And then Fred Biletnikoff Sr., again, somebody who actually Hall of Famer and someone who was a coach for the Oakland Invaders of the USFL. So all these people really, really have rallied behind us, and we continue to pick up more people who want to see this happen.
Jaime, the team's very popular, and you see online the teams being so popular, and there is still a loyal fan base. And I'm going to go to the what now, and I'm going to show you and the fans and the listeners the old Michigan Panthers helmet. So let's go to the what. What teams will be involved? What nicknames will be involved? And also where? What are the locations? Where is it going to be? I know it's going to be a little bit different from the past. Is that correct?
It is correct. Right now, what we're doing is we're looking at what we call non-NFL cities. And so those cities are what we call the underserved professional sports market. So you're looking at cities like Portland, Salt Lake, Memphis, Austin, Birmingham, Raleigh-Durham, Omaha, Oklahoma City, cities like that really have no NFL affiliation and no Major League Baseball. Those are the two areas we want to try to avoid as we're putting teams out there. And so what we've done is we've kind of said, instead of us determining which city is going to be the first 8, we're allowing those cities to start coming to us with interest and ownership. We want the ownership to be from those cities so that they can build that loyalty quickly and they have an understanding of their market. So part of that then is going to go to whatever cities make up the first 8. Then the nicknames will either, we'll either adopt some of the old ones. If Portland is one of them, you might see the Portland Breakers.
You got to bring the Birmingham Stallions back.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. What about the San Antonio Gunslingers? Come on now.
That's another one of the cities that's getting very, very much attention in this. So yeah, we are going to try whenever we can to bring in the old nicknames. If a city that never had a USFL team comes into play, well, then we'll have to try to find a way to fit. But the nicknames that exist, we will definitely want to try to connect them back with their cities.
Now, the target date, as I understand, is going to be next March. Is that correct, that we might actually have the USFL back for the March of 2013?
Absolutely. If all things fall in line for us and certain deadlines and benchmarks are made, we will definitely see a March 2013 kickoff.
What I like most about this is when I talked to Carl Peterson, he said we had to crawl before we could walk, and it certainly sounds like that's a philosophy of the new USFL.
It absolutely is. One of the most important things for us, Mike, is to try to build solid foundation. We want everything we do to make sense, to be solid, to be thought through. That's why we're not jumping into any media contracts or trying to force something that we don't think is going to be ultimately good for the league in the long run. Same thing with all of the finances, looking at how we're going to pay players and how we're going to pay coaches. We want to make sure that everything is solid and is built for sustainability. That's exactly what we want.
So how many games are we looking at? We're talking probably a 12 to 14 game week schedule, and what, 8 to 10 teams we're looking at right now?
Yeah, if we have an 8-team league, then we're looking at 14 games, 14 weeks with 2 playoff games and then a championship game. And then that'll actually get the players done in time for an NFL tryout if they get chosen by an NFL team.
It's funny you said that. I remember when I was writing my book about the USFL, I was talking to Tom Thera, former offensive lineman with the Chicago Bears in the USFL, playing for the Arizona Outlaws, and driving all the way across country to the Chicago Bears. It's kind of along that same premise there, but you want to end kind of like in June, and then this way players can move along and not end like in mid-July.
Right, correct. It'll be a mid-June end date, and then give them about a month to recuperate, and then get out there and hopefully be picked up by an NFL team.
I was very excited to obviously hear about the USFL because I have such a passion for it. I loved the Generals back in the 80s. And I was thinking with Tim Tebow and the Jets picking him up, what a great opportunity this would be right now if the USFL was now, where Tebow could get some reps in there and get some practice going into another NFL season. How great would it if the USFL was around now that Tim Tebow got some reps right now?
Well, and that's exactly what we're looking at. In fact, one of the things we keep saying is that there's no longer a place for a Kurt Warner to come out of. You had NFL Europe, and that's where Kurt Warner actually, honed his skills and developed his skills to become the quarterback he was, in the NFL. That doesn't exist, and that's what we're trying to put back in place, something that will allow these players to hone their skills, develop it in real game time. I don't know any player who gets better by holding a clipboard. It's all about getting out there and playing real time.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I'd like to ask you is can you confirm the rumors that Donald Trump will be an owner?
I am not confirming that unless he comes to me and says yes.
Jaime Cuadra from End Zone Sports Management and the new president of the new USFL kicking off in 2013. Jaime, thanks for joining Sports Confidential. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.